Well, here's a little quandary that most of us have never had to consider. What in the world could you buy your father as a gift to mark the monumental occasion of his ceremonial ascension to the throne? A sacred moment that he has been getting ready for his whole life. What, are you going to give him a pair of socks or maybe a box of chocolate? No, that's not going to be good enough on this important day. Something in a silver frame, perhaps? Seems not that interesting. So I guess we need to give Harry a little credit for giving his father a gift that he's probably never going to forget or forgive. How could he? Just over a week before the coronation, which is going to be broadcasted all around the world to a television audience of millions, Harry decided to peel open a fresh seam in his obsessive war of grievances against the British media. He has filed suit against News Group newspapers over alleged historical unlawful information gathering, one of three big cases that's being brought forward, including one against this newspaper group. Now that is his right, but still, it's the monarchy more than anything else that his actions really hurt the most. See, Harry's actions have basically ruined any remnants of family peace before the big day. Harry has chosen the worst possible time for Charles and Camilla to drag the embarrassing memory of Tampon Gate right back into the public arena, and also he suggested that his brother agreed to a settlement with NGN. I don't know what Harry smoked before he went into that courtroom, but he was like a tinfoil hat conspiracist. In court this week, Harry alleged that there was a secret pact between senior members of the royal family and newspaper executives. Well, this was certainly news to basically everyone except for Harry, but he didn't provide much proof that's going to support this idea. But then again, this would hardly be the first time that something Harry believes to be true turns out to not be true. If you look at his 31-page statement to the court, then you'll see that Harry views himself not as a man possessed, but as some type of knight in shining armor. He believes he's an amazing redeemer not only of himself and his family, but of the government as a whole, the media industry, the people of the UK itself, and also the very idea of democracy. Our country is judged globally by the state of our press and our government, both of whose reputations I believe are currently at rock bottom. Yes, folks, that came from Harry. It seems like he conveniently forgot that he has done a lot more harm to the image of the country than anybody else has. Mostly when he claimed it to be some type of racist backwater state from which he and his apparently victimized wife were so desperate to run away. The statement makes it obvious that Harry believes the royal family are a bunch of idiots being led through the noses by some evil media forces that they cannot comprehend, while he, and only he, is wise enough to put on his goggles of perception and see the real truth. And if it were not so unhinged that it's scary, it would be funny. Now, we all have our blind spots, but it seems to me like Harry is absolutely drowning in a sea of delusions. He's blaming tabloid newspapers for everything that's wrong in his life, including the fact that he did a lot of drugs when he was a teen, the fact that he has an alcohol abuse problem, the fact that he failed exams, and even the fact that he loves playing naked billiards in Las Vegas. And why? Well, because he felt like he had to play up to the headlines and the stereotypes they wanted to place upon me, he says. He claims the tabloids would constantly try and coax me, a damaged young man, into doing something stupid that would make a good story. Really, Harry? Oh, okay. Well, I guess everything is somebody else's fault, which takes the idea of willful unaccountability to an entirely new level of victimhood. Now, I'm not going to argue that Prince Harry has not had some difficult times. He has, for sure. But eventually, there has to come a point in life when you've got to stop blaming other people for your problems, and you have to take responsibility for your life. It's shocking that this nearly 40-year-old man, former soldier and father of two, supposedly, still has not reached that level of maturity. So it looks like Harry really is just a bad seed that's never going to develop into something useful. The courts are bound to decide if his case has any merit. And in the meantime, well, it's been 3 years now since Megxit, and it's pretty interesting that now we see who Prince Harry really is in all his glory, and it is not a pretty sight. Since Harry has escaped the clutches of the royal family, or the institution as he wants to call it, Harry is free to be whoever he wants to be. He's free from the wise hands of courtiers and private secretaries who probably saved him from himself more often than he ever realized. This week, we found out that Harry believes his long-held worries when it comes to newspapers were brushed aside by courtiers because they were bent on a long-term strategy to smooth the way for my stepmother and father to be accepted by the British public as queen consort and king respectively when the time came. We can't really say if that's true or not, but if it were, wouldn't it make a lot of sense? Does it not suggest the type of compromise and pragmatism that any good dynasty or successful company has to employ if they want to make it? To me, what it seems to suggest is that when Harry was still a working member of the royal family, and later on Harry and Meghan, but anyway, neither of them could ever accept the fact that they simply were not the most important people. And also, I don't think Harry can accept that sometimes what he wants has to be sacrificed for the greater good of all. Maybe it's not an easy lesson to learn, sure, but this is the lesson that millions of us have to learn throughout our lifetimes. We have to come to terms with this fact at home, at work, and in relationships too. Because, you know what, at the end of the day, the world does not revolve around you. Nobody can have their way all the time, but that is certainly no reason to throw your whole family under the bus, or to make a mountain out of a molehill because you claim you have some higher moral purpose. And then, after sorting out their giant mansion for them, plus an almost £3 million, Harry had the nerve to tell Oprah that his father cut him off without a penny. You know what? They wouldn't be living in that McMansion without his father. And he says that. What an idiot. I'm sure his father, the then Prince of Wales, would have sorted that out, definitely. He probably would have also included the insurance and building inspection fees, etc., the transfer fees, and the rates. Now, they did thank him during that Oprah interview, but their word salad lingo was misinterpreted by everybody as implying that Charles was an unloving, cold, racist father. But I guess now that problem is over because Harry has already said publicly that in fact he never said his family was racist, and he denied that either of them said it actually. Alright Harry, thanks for the update, but you know what, I already spent a lot of money on new hearing aids, so considering your history of mishandling the truth, I do hope this is not another of your little fibs. But let's get back to the question. When Harry ran away from his home with Meghan, he never had to take care of a family before. I don't think he understood the cost of his high-maintenance wife, other than her £1 million wardrobe, of course, in the first 12 months. But let's remember, it was Daddy who paid all those bills. So suddenly, Harry came to understand that when your wife requires mandatory surgical procedures every couple of months, including color transformation in an attempt to appear human, is it 44% Nigerian? I'm not sure. Or is it that now white people are allowed to be seen on camera too? Please let me know. Anyway, it's important for us to consider our options in life, and Harry does need a lot of money coming in if he expects to be able to pay all those bills, even if it means selling his deceased grandmother's private stories. I guess the next chapter of Spare has a new cover design. Harry understood the phrase airing your family's dirty laundry literally, and so now he's going to include a photo of his grandmother's underwear hanging out on the line.